It's Dane Callaway on I'm Just Here to Make You Think Radio.
Okay. See you, everyone. The next topic of discussion is a brother by the name of Nipsey Hussle, where he was left. Man, this topic is pretty deep. He was murdered. Left his family behind, left his friends behind, all of those people that he was supporting. He was turning a negative into a positive, and that positive into another positive and some. And very good brother. Mentally, I really do think the mental was the key here. But, I want to say, and I said this before when the situation happened back in 2019, some new stuff arose, by the way, as to the reason why I'm doing this. But I knew it was a setup. And the video that I'm getting ready to play and another video after that, you're going to see what I'm talking about. I knew it was more to it, okay, but it was going to come out later. I knew it was going to, make its rounds after a few years. I knew it was going to come out later. And and I didn't have to go too far in order for me to, put my own speculation on it and actually analyze the stuff that I was able to see, outside looking in. And I didn't even have to be inside looking out. And I'm going to show you that, later on here. But first, let's go over the video that I want to show you concerning the ex-LA police officer actually speaking about this situation, dealing with Nipsey Hussle. He was interviewed, young brother, and I'm getting ready to pull it up here. He was interviewed, and the question arose that was very important, that is very key for people to hone into. Okay, and I'm going to pause and give my take on that, of course. Here we go. So let me switch screens here. Okay. So this is the gentleman here. Listen to the question that she asked.
So you mentioned that, stations like the 77 Police Department are rooted in traditional policing. And recently, just this week, Eric Holder was sentenced for the murder of Nipsey Hussle. Mm-hmm. When Nipsey was killed in 2019, the police commissioner had a press conference with the city councilman and the mayor and some other people. And he revealed that Nipsey was supposed to be having a meeting with the LAPD that Monday. Nipsey got killed on Sunday. They were supposed to have this meeting on Monday.
See? That's key. And the meeting was about, and actually we're going to get into that, but the meeting is about what, to build a better relationship with the gang members and the police department. Push it towards stopping the violence, decriminalizing certain things that shouldn't be the way it is, the way they handle things traditionally in the LA Police Department, in which they get into. It's unfortunate, okay? But I believe that they had their hand in it. But I'm going to get to the part where he actually alludes to that, okay? Watch this.
Just what do you think they could have possibly been, just from your experience as a police officer and just understanding, just different aspects of, policing and community and things like that. Do you have any idea what they may have been prepared to talk about that day?
I would say they were probably going to talk about how they could get on just like a community level with the community. Obviously, Nipsey Hussle was a known gang member, but he was also, I would say he was a community organizer. We call him a neighborhood hero. I grew up in that area, so for me, Nipsey Hussle was a role model to me. I actually had conversations with partner officers about why he was a role model to me. And someone would argue with me like, oh, well, he was a gang member and this and that. No, he was a father. He was a son. He was a poet. He was a business owner.
So he pointed out that LA police officers had an issue with him just calling him a regular gangbanger. Okay, which he did bang a gang. Okay, but they're trying to make it seem like it's like, that's it.
He was a poet. He was a business owner. That's what he was.
Right.
So, and we all, none of us are, as good as God. None of us walk in the image of God. So, for anybody to say like, oh, Nipsey Hussle was this and that, for me, it's like, nah, I'm not here for none of that. But anyways,
Don't judge him.
I would say,
Anybody can change.
I think they might have sat down and talked about some of the things that I'm trying to make happen about the gang unit and just kind of show how they're actually terrorizing the community when they're supposed to be trying to protect us. When I first got into the LAPD, I thought that maybe I might be interested in joining the gang unit, but when I got to Southwest Division, I saw that like nobody was calling on the gang members, and so the problems start from officers stopping the gang members. Like that's how a lot of the issues were starting between law enforcement officers. It's not like they had just beat somebody up or robbed somebody. Like they were probably just chilling in front of a store or at a park, and officers pulled up and tried to do whatever they were going to do that day.
So he's actually letting you know that they were starting trouble with them just because of who they're affiliated with. Okay, so Nipsey Hussle's idea was to have a better relationship with the police department to let them know, hey, I mean, not all the time does gang banging consist of violence. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, certain people do certain things, but him and his folks don't do that. And he wanted to let them know that there is growth amongst those that have a better mindset that will still represent their gang. That's their club in a way, but they go about their business in a positive adult way, professional way. And that's what he showcased, and that's why this particular gentleman, who is an ex-LA police officer, he's letting people know that was his idol. That's a very, very good sign, but I don't think the LAPD was for that.
They didn't want to go with the program. So I think they were probably going to talk about some of those things, how to change it, make it better for the community members, and just get on a talking stage. Like we as officers and as civilians, we have to both get out of the mindset of us versus them.
So, Nipsey was also somebody that was advocating against those gang injunctions. Like he was vocal about gang injunctions. Can you talk a little bit about just briefly what a gang injunction is, and then I have a follow-up to that question.
Watch this.
So the gang injunction is basically like, let's say you're a young man, you're 16, 17 years old, and you are a part of a gang. If you've committed a crime or they stopped you for a traffic stop or anything like that, they'll ask you, are you a part of a gang? A lot of times the young men, like, they have pride and they don't see the wrong in what they're doing, so they'll say, yeah, they're admit to it or something like that. And so the officers will write that down on an FI card. They take that card back to the station and they put the young man on a gang file. So moving forward, if you commit a crime, it could be a number of different crimes, but if you commit one of those crimes, they'll try to charge you for that crime, but then also gang injunction. They'll say you're doing what you're doing for the gang, so you'll get more years for whatever crime you've committed. If you
they'll tack on more time.
You're on a gang file and you go to prison, once you get out, you can't hang out with other known gang members. So like even if you got on a gang file when you were 20, you did whatever you did, maybe did some time or not. At 28, if you're hanging out with another gang member on probation or something like that, you guys can both go to jail. So it's a violation of your probation.
And of course, that's not fair. And I see why Nip will bring that up and say, hey, let's do away with that. And apparently LA is not trying to do away with that. Now, I have done another video on the LA Police Department, and it's some shiesty stuff going on with them as far as their positions of power, the people in power, and nobody is overruling them on certain things that they use, certain tactics that they'll utilize against the citizens. I think that should be brought up amongst the people that live there, but I guess they don't care. They probably feel as though that's the way it should go. But when somebody like Nip speak up, that lets you know that he's probably not the only one that feels that way, that says, hey, what they're doing is wrong. What they're doing is like racial profiling against our people just because, we hang in a club or we got a club that we hang with. And I'm going to use the term club because technically that's what it is. If you're a member of a gang, it's just like you're a member of a sorority or a fraternity. You know what I mean? In colleges and universities. But, I mean, politicians are gangs. You got the Republicans and the Democrats. But it is what it is. And who's policing them? Man, but yeah, he was trying to change all that stuff up, develop a good relationship, good rapport with them, and they stopped it.
Yeah, so Nipsey was very vocal about just how that was unfair, And, you mentioned that some young men might tell the police, like, hey, I'm a gang member, because they might not be at that point in their lives that they've grown from that, right? Mm-hmm. So you talk about Nipsey, who was, an active gang member, but transitioning into just a man, right? He was a business owner, operated several businesses in the Crenshaw and Slauson parking lot, him and his brother. And it just seemed like the LAPD could not get away from viewing him as just a gang member. Mm-hmm. He, was continuously harassed at his place of business. He did say that. Do you think that if Nipsey Hussle had a better relationship with the police, that maybe he wouldn't have been harassed so much?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Even though, and I'm gonna let him answer that. Even though if he did have a better relationship with them, I still feel as though they were gonna harass him based off of trying to get him to give in. They would want him to submit and do what they, want him to do. And of course, he's not going to be down for that. I mean, that would in turn him into a informant for them, helping them out and stuff like that. He's not going to do nothing like that. Are you out of your mind? So yeah, a good relationship, amongst the community is what he was shooting for, not necessarily a good relationship with him per se, because that was technically impossible, really. So
I don't even think that he would have had a chance to have a better relationship with them. I mean, unless he just pretty much submitted to whatever they wanted him to do. Yeah. I don't see that there was I think once they knew that he was one of those gang members, then that was pretty much it for them. It was like, okay, well, that's him, us versus him, us versus them. But yeah, I mean, I would say if he submitted more to whatever their program was, that there was obviously a possibility for a better relationship.
Yeah, but what would that be? You know what I mean? Like, what would that entail? Because he's not about to give up, his MO. He's not about to give up his own heart, his pride. He's not about to give that up, his manhood, for somebody, that wasn't there for him from, day one. He's not about to just lay down. Like, I don't think anybody would do that unless they were vulnerable. But in this case, Nip was not vulnerable, They could play with other people like that, the person that shot him, and which we're about to get into right after this, but they can't play with Nip like that. And I think that's the reason why they came at him and other people, allegedly.
Eric Holder was just sentenced, 60 years. Which a lot of people think is really interesting, considering that, him and Nipsey were both rolling 60 gang members. Despite the fact that we've seen the LAPD commissioner have the press conference with the city following Nipsey's murder, LAPD is...
Hold up. Now, I'm not going to lie. I didn't know they were both in the same gang. I mean, I knew he recognized the guy according to what people were saying, but I didn't know they were a part of the same gang. That's interesting as well.
A known corrupt entity. Have the press conference with the city following Nipsey's murder. LAPD is a known corrupt entity.
Right.
Do you believe that the LAPD was focused on completely stopping whatever Nipsey had going on over there on Slauson and Crenshaw?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say yes. I'm not big into conspiracy theories, but we see it already. Even now today, I live 3 minutes from that area, the Crenshaw and Slauson area. It's blocked off. The alley's blocked off. You can't go. There's no memorial site. So I would say yes. I've been kind of following it a little bit, and I think they were saying that the city planned on like taking the whole building from the family or something like that because or something about the gang. It was like a gang. I'm not too sure, but
trying to put the gang injunction on the property, on the whole property.
Business in the state, and basically say that's what was going on, and so they're trying to take it now.
So you know who was a part of it now. You know who was a part of it now. So I mean, even he admitted it. He was like, he not big on conspiracy, theories or whatever, because of course he's not going rat out on his own people. But at the same time, when she asked that LAPD is corrupt, well, she stated that he was shaking his head. Of course, he can't give a answer out of his mouth, but he was letting her know, like, yes, yes, they are. And I believe everybody knows that. So I'm going to go to another video really quickly. So now I wanted to show you all this particular video right here, which is an old video of mine on my main channel. From the year when this happened, when this took place back in 2019, and I was going over something very suspicious that I saw and nobody would, they weren't talking about it. I was like, that's crazy. Why is nobody talking about this? And I explained it. You're going to tell the difference in the microphone and everything. Like, my mic sound different and everything back then. But, I mean, I had a totally different mic, of course. But I want you all to see this. It's just odd to me because, of course, they got Eric Holder. But look at what I point out. This is how I know it was a setup on top of that.
I'm going to get right into it right now. It's two shooters.
Here we go.
I hope my mouse is picking up.
I said it was two shooters in 2019, and then I explained why.
So I can see it on this screen as you guys see it. Okay, right here, where my mouse is, this is Nipsey Hussle. There's a guy right here, guy right here, guy right here, guy right here. I think that's a total of 3 different cars. 1, 2, 3. Black cars, like, or dark cars. Of course, these 2 are black. I'm not even sure if that's a car right there. Matter of fact, I don't think that's a car right there. It could be a part of, I don't know. The way that, I don't know, they look a little weird right there. I can't tell what that is, okay? But what I really want you to focus on is the guy comes up right here, and 2 people hop out of this white car that I'm pointing at that's in the middle. Anybody that shows up right here gets their reflection pops up on this glass or mirror right here. Like right now, somebody is at the edge somewhere in this direction, and that's being reflected here before we even get started. Now, I did notice that right here, I don't know if you could follow my circle. I noticed right here on my 4K screen that there is a blurred image, a black image, like something was blurred out right here purposely, so I could tell that this was edited. Right here. I don't know if you could follow that circle.
I can see it.
But something right here is blocking it out, and I don't know why that is. But you can tell even when a person comes up here that they'll get blurry. For example, there's going to be 2 people that come out this car. 1, 2. See how all of a sudden he pops up now? Okay?
Right.
So we see that there's a person here, person there. Person just walked over here, and the guy's walking up. That's the alleged shooter. Now, when he walks up to this guy's walking down. This guy was walking in this direction. They almost seem like they have on the same clothes. Like you see the black shirt, tan pants. Let's back it up a little bit. Black shirt, tan pants. Okay. This guy keeps walking. This guy stands here, the one that hops out of the car. Now, where did the passenger go? Now, okay. If you notice, that's not the point, though. We're going to go straight into what my point is. You see the guy walking up. You see him walking up. That was him right here. Let's go back a little bit. You see how he went from here. I'm going to let the mouse follow him. Okay? And he walks up and hits Nipsey. That's the first time. Okay? That's the first time. But what's very important to note is that you can see him, his reflection, as soon as he hits that right here in that mirror, you can see him, his reflection.
I can see that.
And he steps over here. And he stays there. Okay, comes back right here. You're going to see him come back. into the picture, okay? Now, what's very important is people miss this part.
Yeah,
See how
this
we
the
saw
part
his
that
shadow? Once again, one more time.
we
We saw his
This part
shadow
caught me.
of that particular individual or whatever. Not necessarily shadow. Let me not say shadow. His reflection.
right.
Let me use the proper terms here. His reflection from reflecting off of that like mirrored glass almost is
Right here.
you can see that right there. Okay. You can clearly, even when he turns around to run, we'll
Turn
see
around
that.
and run. Yeah.
What's interesting, see how he's back over there. What's interesting is that when he falls, that's his friend. That's Nipsey. Nipsey turns around, and you see that Nipsey immediately goes to his back right there, like something happened. It was like his head dropped violently to the ground.
I'm going to explain it. Don't
Okay?
worry about
and
it. I'm going to
that's
explain
what stood out to me. I said, what is that? Then I noticed something. I said, well, wait a minute. Continue to look at the mirror. Okay? Now this is the guy, and keep focus on this mirror right here. That's the first guy. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's gone. Then in here, somebody else walks up and shoots and runs.
So did.
Look at that.
Boom.
Wow.
Now,
Right there. Wow. But then I noticed at the same time, if you notice, as he shoots, okay, I don't know if I could capture the correct, because I can't slow it down right here.
right here.
But you can
right
also see a flash as it happens, if I catch it properly. But look at Nipsey and look at the guy.
He reacts
Notice
right
ain't
to it.
nobody right here, allegedly. Okay?
They got it blocked.
I can't see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
We see that the guy's right there.
Yep.
go
He
back
all the way in
again.
the back. So Eric Holt all the way in the back.
The guy went over here. That's the guy. Tan shorts or jeans or, tan khakis or something. He's right there. You can still see him moving around. Who's this person? Wow. And he shot Nipsey simultaneously. You can see that. It happened. He came over. Look. Wow. You can see that. Wow.
See?
Wow. You can see that.
All right. All right, that's enough. It was more than one person involved, okay? And this particular video was starting to go viral, and I took it down. I made it private. But I said now it's time, because now I'm not the only one saying that. Because at first I was the only one on YouTube saying that. And now that I see that the ex-LA officer was alluding to the fact that, of course we already know that the LA Police Department is corrupt, but alluding to the fact that they were involved, then my theory, because I can't really prove this. Technically I did, but technically I didn't, because I can't tell you who the second shooter was. I just know it was the second shooter by way of that mirror or whatever that is. I see a whole nother person, and Nipsey was reacting to what he did, and that guy ran off this whole time. Okay, so I'm not gonna go any further. That's it right there. May Nip rest in peace. I would just love to hear some real good closure on this one, and not just put the blame on just one person, which will be the fall guy. But of course that police department is corrupt down there. They're not gonna put it on nobody else but the people that they hire to be informants. So it's unfortunate that he lost his life because of this bull crap. All he was trying to do was bring it together and have a resolution, peaceful resolution at that, and an understanding. That's it. He didn't deserve this. He was doing his thing. And now they closing his buildings down and blocking stuff off, took down his rule, and that's suspect. But you tell me. Leave your comments down below and tell me what y'all think. Yeah.